So welcome to episode 2, where we're going to be looking at how to live your best life. I am your host, Rae Irelan, and you are listening to the Soul Aligned podcast, where we help high-achieving leaders and driven visionaries do what they love and live their purpose. So, what does your best life look like? Unfortunately, a lot of the time, it's not this easy, just like snap of the fingers, Mary Poppins situation, right? A lot of the times we want to go into just visioning and looking out into the world and our friends and our inspirations and being like, oh, that's what I want. That can be the first step. But usually what is underneath it are these more heavy feelings, these negative feelings that can come up around not living your best life currently. And just starting to examine, become aware, and start to acknowledge that wait, this isn't what I thought I came to Earth to do. I thought there was more. So a lot of times there's feelings of frustration, anger, resentment, everything from jealousy to guilt or shame, or even depression that comes up in these times. And the good part is if you have that fiery feeling where you start to feel really angry, that's actually one of the most powerful energies. It's a little bit harder when you're in that depressive state where you maybe are feeling a little bit more numb. In that case, I would highly suggest you get out and just start to experience feelings. So that's kind of another conversation. But if you're in that place of kind of looking at your life and feeling that frustration or anger, I'm going to tell you you're on the right track, because anger can very easily be transitioned into something that feels more like passion and excitement. Of course, the excitement doesn't usually come really quickly, right? But it's that anger, that feeling that you want to throw something on the floor, punch a pillow. That's that feeling that can bring up this inner fire. From there's something that you're extremely passionate about if you're feeling that angry. So if you can start to tap into that, you might actually have this key of what door to open next. As you start to understand what that passion is, you might actually become a little bit excited in the beginning to think, I wonder what I could do with this, what this passion could bring me or bring others. From that place of excitement that becomes generated, you can start to then step into that visioning process of, wow, what would that be like? What would that feel like? And you can actually trick your body to start experiencing joy, because your body doesn't know anything different than what your thoughts are telling it. So if you start to have these different thoughts about what is exciting in your life that could be changing or shifting, your body actually will be experiencing this sense of joy. One of my favorite quotes is, "Fear is only excitement not breathed into." So it's just a practice of breathing. Most of the time that can help us shift that perspective into, oh my gosh, this is terrifying, all these things could go wrong, to just breathing, centering, feeling into that trust of your breath, that it's going to be there catching you. And that can really shift your whole perspective to this idea of wow, I might actually be pretty excited about this new shift that's happening, because I was angry about what my present is, or I wasn't fulfilled. So this might actually be a way out. And so we can just take a collective breath together if you're watching this. Just to feel that sense of grounding that comes. It's that easy. So to figure it out from that point, then you need to really get clear on what you want, right? Because we have been given these definitions of success. We've been given them from society, from our parents, or whoever raised us, our teachers, our mentors. They've always said, hey, this is what success looks like. You should go after this. And not to blame anyone. They were just, sharing their wisdom as we get to also share ours with others. But truly, it's not yours unless you define it, and you redefine what success has been put onto you, so that way you can understand what success actually looks like to embody and to live. So, it kind of comes in this box, right? Most of the time, it's like you should have these sort of feelings and emotions. You should have this sort of job, this kind of stability. Your relationships should look like this. It's really enclosed in a certain box. And so, what does that version of success look like for you? A lot of the times, again, it's kind of this backwards mentality to get to the point that we want to get to. Sometimes it can be harder to break out of that mold of what you've been taught, because it's literally ingrained in your cellular programs in your brain. It can be really hard to say, oh, I want to redefine it in this way. So what I like to do is actually reverse engineer it and look at, okay, what do you really not want? What does success not look like? And it's this process of removal to see what is the truth, what are those underlying kernels that are there, not just all this fluff of what this like false reality looks like. So what's not working is a great question to start asking yourself. What is not working in my life right now? And you might find, it's like, my husband or my kids or that job, I cannot go back there again. Maybe it's some other relationships, or maybe it's just this inner relationship where you're like, man, like I have not been taking care of my body, or like I realize that I'm not speaking up. I'm not sharing my truth. I'm not trusting in my ideas. It can look a variety of ways, and it can also be this like hodgepodge of a bunch of different themes that kind of come together. So go ahead, and if you're sitting here watching this or listening, take a moment to journal, or make a note to do this after you watch the show. What is not working in your life? Just get really, really clear. This is the first step to being able to remove some of those things that aren't working, so that way you can actually create more space. And from that space, what do you think can happen? Well, the next step is not focusing on that list of all of the gunk and everything that's not working, right? Being able to release it in your own way, and there's lots of different rituals and ceremonies that you can do to release energy, both Eastern and Western traditions that you can utilize. So releasing that energy, and from that space, okay, now step into the visioning process of, what do I want to create? What does my dream life look like? You've opened that space, and now there's a possibility. So then, what does it look like? Break it down into these different themes. What would you love your love life to look like? What would you love doing in your everyday life? In maybe during the week, what does your work look like? What do your relationships with your friends look like? How do you relate to yourself and take care of yourself? Go through and ask every single question. And I know this might feel time consuming, but you are worth the time, right? You are worth this energy, and stepping away from your life, taking a moment to reflect and pause. I find so often that this is what people are not doing. They're not creating the space, both by emptying out old beliefs and thoughts and systems, but also creating the space for you to even go through this process. Go on a retreat, go out into nature, find a coach to work with. So that way you are accounted for in carving out that space, time, and energy to be able to go into these deeper questions. It has to be a commitment, right? And you have to show up. No one else can do this for you, truly. I can't even tell you how many clients I've had to share that with. It's like, I can give you all the tools, and you're hearing a bunch right now, but no one is going to do this for you, even if you have that accountability. So carve it out, and then you could always use my breakdown of PPFI. Again, this is a really easy way to look at your life. 4 categories. I love that. We probably have like 1,000 categories that we're actually living in. But if you want to take actionable steps in an efficient way, this is a great process to begin. And there's so many layers that go deeper that I take my clients through. But for now, to begin, personal, professional, financial, and impact. What does your best life look like in each of those categories? Once you've cleared that space, dive in and really visualize what would be possible, what would be amazing, what would just like light yourself up and bring joy to your life and others. And now, you may hear this 1,000 times, but the people, environments, situations, and jobs that are all in your place, in your life right now, they all have these anchor points. Are they changing? So many people will be listening to the show, this podcast, will even work with me or come on a retreat with me, and they will want to see these results. They want to see something change in their life, but they are not willing to give up their current situations of safety, which usually are in congruency with the people, the environments, the situations, the jobs that you are currently playing out. So I'm going to ask you in a very bold and real way, what are you really changing then? If you are not willing to shift some of these big pieces, the pillars in your life, if you're not willing to shift those, the little things will not shift. You can keep shifting the little things, but I gotta tell you, those pillars will still be in place. So this is a point of frustration. I know it can be so difficult, but guess what? You don't have to knock down every single pillar of your life. That's the amazing thing. I call it the explosion method or the turtle method. And so you don't need to explode the whole building, right? You can actually be that turtle that's like slowly but consistently going towards the finish line. So what is that first pillar? What is the one that already feels like it's cracked and breaking? Because there definitely is one. If you're on this transformational journey, there's something massive that is not working in your life that you are aware of, whether you actually want to address it or not. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to pray for you that you actually do take a moment to look at that pillar that's already cracking, already breaking. It's ready for you to clear it out of the way and start building something new from the foundation up and actually change. Such a small percentage of people are going to be willing and ready to change. And they're going to take those steps, those action steps, and take it with inspiration, whether it's from the show or something else in your life. Use that inspiration you have for the possibility of what if. What else could be possible? And move in your life. Remove the pieces that you don't want. Keep envisioning the ones that you do want. Move from that space with love and gratitude and compassion, because you're truly on a magnificent journey in transforming your life. And this truly is how you can get closer and closer to your best life. And there is no end destination. I know we might want to say, well, what happens if one at a time, or even if I use the explosion method, what would happen if all of those pillars get rebuilt? All of them get thrown down and each one gets rebuilt in a more aligned way. Well, I can almost guarantee that at some point, one of those pillars that you built on this round is going to get a little fracture break in it. And at some point, it will be that time to revisit. So this is not an end goal process of building your dream life. There will always be more work. And I invite you to look at that in a way of like, wow, blessings. If we exchange work for presents, like there's always going to be more presents there. There's always going to be more gifts that we get to open and explore and unveil for ourselves. Like, that's pretty cool. And when it comes down to it, like, why should we live our best life? What other reason would we be put here on this planet? To be miserable and hate each other, cause harm to one another? No way. We're here to enjoy life, fall in love with one another, co-create. And this doesn't happen and we don't have to put a timeline on when this is going to happen, when I retire, or, you know, it'll happen tomorrow. It'll happen the day I get married, when I find my soulmate. Or, oh, well, no, I get to experience it when I'm on vacation. So here's the challenge, is truly bringing your best life into your everyday life. And the last piece I want to leave you with is rewarding yourself. When you start to see these shifts happen, you know, you're doing the internal work, you're witnessing your life, and you're starting to play around and adjust things. When things come into alignment, and you'll feel it, it'll be like, oh, this, yes. Or, you know, you'll just experience this congruency. You'll experience that you are connected with yourself and everyone else, or even on a bigger scale connected with the cosmos, or maybe nature. You know, I always love having nature right around me, because we are all connected. We are all supporting one another. And when you get to feel these moments, especially if you're not used to having these moments of feeling like you're in the right place at the right time, having the right conversation, meeting the right person to keep co-creating and building your dream life with, when you aren't experiencing that all the time, when you start to experience it, it's like a muscle, and you want to reward it. You want to reward those intuitive pieces that came to mind that guided you to be in that spot. You want to thank yourself for doing this work, because I know it's not easy. You know, I wish I could say like, well, you just take out your magic wand and you tell me what you want and it's done. No, it is actually hard work. So reward yourself. Give yourself that massage that you've been wanting for, you know, maybe the last year or your whole life. Take yourself out to dinner. Go out to nature just randomly one day. Do something extra special to remind yourself and let yourself know that you are acknowledged. Acknowledge yourself for the growth that you're doing, because it is so powerful. It's so huge. And truly stepping back into that place of gratitude is what will continue to unfold in the most magical ways. You will start to attracting the vibration that you are being and becoming, and it only exponentially grows. What you focus on will grow. So in this practice, don't focus on that list of all the things that aren't working for too long, right? Use that to clear. And from that point on, focus on what you do want. That's what will continue to grow as you keep putting your intention, your awareness, and your gratitude into that space. So good. I love this conversation. So thank you all so much for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. My name is Rae Irelan. This is the Soul Aligned Show, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. And if you'd like to check out more videos, go ahead and tap the screen right there.